Hi everyone, this is Juno from Homeschooling Along, and today I'll do a video going over all of our third grade choices. So let's go over everything we used, how we liked it, and if we'll use it again for fourth grade. Alright, let's get started. Let's talk about all about homophones. If you're trying to teach homophones on your own, that's fine. I absolutely found that spending $18 on this book, which it covers all the grades, grade 1 through 8, I find this book easy and worth it. All right, I use it with both of my kids. So what we do is I make copies so they both can do it on certain days. And let's look. For example, you give them a sheet. And they need to use the word new or new in different sentences. They usually give them 10 sentences. And they need to know, for example, the baby birds sang sweetly in their nest. So they need to figure out if it's this new or that new. You'd be surprised, but this is a really easy, quick, and effective way to teach kids homophones. Also, at the beginning of the book, if you see I tagged it. It divides it into grades on which words you should do in which grades. And then there is another part that I tagged. I love these little paper tags. So at the end of the book, there is crossword puzzles. And these crossword puzzles use the homophone words that they have learned. So what I do is usually I cover a few of the pages that I showed you at the beginning. And then maybe a couple weeks later, I give them a crossword puzzle to just make sure that they didn't forget, to reinforce what they used, and it also gets them used to how to do crossword puzzles. Absolutely love it. Also, what I do is at the beginning, this book gives you these type of templates. So I make a copy. And again, for example, with new and new, after I do a few of these pages, I pick a couple of words and I leave it on their desk in the morning, and I tell them that they need to work on new and new, for example. So they write the word, they draw whatever picture they want, and they just do a little sentence. So there's 3 different ways for them to review the homophone they have learned. I usually don't do them all at once. I give them a few of these, and then 2 weeks later we work on the crosswords and this to reinforce what they learned. All right, this book up is word roots. I don't know if you have noticed, I'm covering all the our language arts choices so far. Word roots book, the beginning, please do not go with level 1 because this is already hard enough. And if you go with level 1, you're going to be pulling your hair out. As you can see, says grades 3 to 4. We are trying to use it between the 3rd grade, and it is a great little book. Now, some of the stuff taught in here, might go over their head. It's okay, because 90% is probably going to stay with them. And part of my article where I talk about how my child went from a struggling reader to an avid reader, this book right here has a lot to do with it. So it teaches kids basically prefix, root words, and suffix. It has an amazing effect on children, on understanding a lot of words. You'll be surprised how many words have the prefix ab, by, counter, this, and so on. And it basically teaches them the meaning of the prefix, the meaning of the root word, and they put these words together and they understand now what the word is. So now every time they see a word with re, for example, they know what it means. They immediately know that re means repeating something, okay, or so on. So there is a lot to do. Some of these worksheets are harder. So make sure if you are going to put this into your 3rd or 4th grade curriculum, or whenever you're going to start it, that you begin with the beginning level, even if your child is later on level. Absolutely love this book, and will highly recommend it. All right. Let's go on to Handwriting Transition. I would like to give Timberdoodle the credit for a lot of these books that we are using, because I started in 2nd grade with a custom curriculum. 3rd grade, I have custom our curriculum even more from their choices, just because with our learning styles, some things we had to change them. But a lot of these books, it's because I have followed what they include into their curriculum kits. So it is, you know, if you are someone who wants to buy a kit, Timberdoodle is a great place to go and look. And if you are one like me who pieces together their curriculum, then go right ahead. You can do it. I wrote a post about that too. All right, Handwriting Transition. What is this? Okay, I have taught my kids how to write using manuscript letters. I have done that for kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade. In 3rd grade, we are transitioning to teach my child how to write in cursive. Now, I know that in public schools, they do not teach cursive anymore. I really don't care what they do in public school, meaning that I believe that cursive is something that kids should at least have a knowledge of what it looks like. And it's their choice if they choose to write in manuscript or cursive, but kids need to know how to read cursive. You know, it's a shame that if my child turns out to be the CEO of a company, if he gets a cursive document, he can't read it. He has to ask his assistant, for example. It's, you know, kids should have the knowledge to be able to read cursive manuscript. Some moms say the Constitution is written in cursive. Absolutely correct. I hadn't even thought about that. So yes, that's why my child is learning cursive. Reason for handwriting, the first half goes over manuscript. So if you need to go over print, then you have the choice. We have completely skipped that because my child had gotten print down. And then it starts teaching them cursive letter by letter. I do like reason for handwriting style of cursive a little bit better than Abeka's. Now, Abeka's cursive is beautiful, don't get me wrong. However, I found that some letters with reason for handwriting a little bit simpler and less fancy. So, but at the end of the day, whether he learns it the Abeka way or the handwriting, whatever cursive they learn, they'll learn to recognize any type of cursive unless it's a scribble. So he has he has gone through all of his letters, and now he's trying to write words, and he's just started his first lesson in writing a sentence. We do handwriting. We were doing it 3 times a week, and now that he knows all of the alphabet letters in cursive and he's starting to write sentences, I am doing it 4 to 5 times a week because I want him to get fluent. And like I said, this is a skill that I'm teaching him. He will continue practicing it next year. No pressure, but it's something that I want him to be familiar with because I want him to be able to read cursive handwriting. All right, our next is, this is an Abeka book piece, Read and Think Skills. I have added this on into our curriculum because to help my child speed his comprehension process when he reads. So if you're one of those parents who fall asleep when their kids read, then join my club. Hello. My child, when we started 3rd grade, was taking this sweet time reading. All right, these are basically, you do once a week. It gives you a timer. It starts off giving kids 4.5 minutes, and then it progresses, giving kids 4 minutes and a quarter. And what the child does, you put on the timer, the child reads the text, and then in the back, between the 4 minutes and 15 seconds, he has to answer these questions, okay? And at the end, they get to circle what they got right or wrong. This is not marked because we make copies, so my next third grader gets to use it. All right, and we love those read and think sheets. Again, something once a week. It just helps my child with his reading fluency, comprehension, but most of all, it's for his speed. That was it for our language arts choices. Stay tuned, subscribe, and continue homeschooling along. Bye.